anything else you'd like to say before we move?
No, I don't.
Okay.
Bring the judge on, please.
All right. So, Judge, how are you? 323-646. I lost you there for a second.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. I just got dropped. I'm doing fine, Miss Valerie, and Brother Washington, how you doing, sir? Always good to hear your voice on stage and through the phone lines. Anyway, we've been exchanging some text about 10 yards, 25 yards, and such pertinent things that so many of us don't pay attention to. But you're absolutely right on the African situation. And on the general situation, it's once again this new religion called politically correct, where accepted on faith and believe fervently, we have some dictates that are supposed to be followed without question, without respect for the relevance or irrelevance of the principles that the particular PC faith puts in front of us. So unfortunately for the advocates, that's not the way the world works, and that is sliding back into the methodology of Nazi Germany and fascist Italy. So interestingly enough, the left wing has been adopting the methodology of the far right, and that doesn't make for a good political scene because the far right still has lost its proclivity to exercise the same type of thing where you tell lies, you tell them long enough, loudly enough, and you get people to accept them as the truth. So that's what we're into right now. The media and the press and the television, they express outrage, jump into the accusation because it's got to be true. But I have told people over and over, an accusation is only that. The accuser may have a vile method or a vile motive behind making a false accusation. So let's get to the bottom of it before you condemn. But sometimes, and this is important, you have to understand a person is technically innocent until proven guilty beyond a reasonable doubt relative to criminal charges. But that does not keep the criminal charges from being true, even if nobody can prove it. For example, it would be disingenuous to say that Al Capone did not order a number of hits in pre-World War II Chicago, and he was the gang boss there. But you couldn't prove it. They got him on income tax evasion. So it is what it is. So we've got, what's his name?
Smollett. I know that's who you're talking about.
Yeah, but what's his real? Justin.
Jussie.
His real name is
Jussie. Jussie Smollett.
No.
His real name is Justin.
No. His real
I know you want to joke,
no,
Juicy.
No, I mean, seriously. His real name is Justin.
It's Justin,
Smollett.
Yes.
And he adopted for SAG-AFTRA Jussie, spelled Jussie, which is Juicy. So I refer to it as Justin Jussie Smollett. And I think the motive behind it was a political one, along with his putative aunt through her sister, Kamala Harris, to take a bill that was introduced by John Conyers more than 20 years ago that had stalled out over and over again in Congress and stalled out again. And then they made it happen by simply bringing it to a perspective of it's a lynch thing. Lynching still happens in 2019, so we need to protect this class of people from lynching. So the class inferred was us, but we got nothing out of that. But LGBTQ got the supreme advantage of having anyone with a sexual orientation that is a compulsion protected as a class. And I don't get it because I assume they don't approve of rape. So if they engage in voluntary homosexual activity, that is, in fact, consensual, so they can either consent to it or not. So I don't understand how what you do in your bedroom becomes a protected category that way when it's already been protected under the First Amendment, freedom of speech, orientation, and association. Well,
right.
freedom of
Judge,
association.
hold that thought. Let me check with Mr. Washington. How much more time do we have with you? Because I know you only had an hour, and we're at 7:15 now. So I want to figure out how to moderate this and gauge the time.
I appreciate that. I just got to. I'm okay that next conference call is not going to happen, so we can continue on. Thank you for being respectful of that. I appreciate it, but I'm okay with time.
All right. Thank you guys so much. And Judge, at 7:30, what we're going to do is take a quick break. And do you guys still want to continue with the conversation about Monique and Steve, or are you just going to kind of freestyle before we open up the lines and allow other people to love on Mr. Washington?
No, I think it's a round two. I think the reason you guys invited me back is because I touched on something that to be fair, you have to know Sidney Hicks and Monique Hicks are my friends, longtime friends. I put Monique in her first movie since Precious. After about 5 years of saying no to certain deals and not being treated properly, she said yes to me. And we did a movie where I gave her 50% ownership of the movie. Unfortunately, the movie, be honest, I'm a producer on it, it wasn't executed as strongly and as creatively as I had hoped it would. So it didn't get the support as The Moonlight and the other movies dealing with that particular subject matter. I follow my sword with that. But having said that, a lot of movies get a lot of attention just because of individual performances. And what always sticks in my craw is that, my God, the performance of the openly gay actor who played my son, Julian Walker, and the performance of Monique in the movie Blackbird was profound. It was absolutely a joy to watch. I mean, this woman was just a titan in this role. In the film called Blackbird, you can get it on Urban Movie Channel. You can catch it on iTunes. It's out there. It's available. And if you have time, check it out. And that was a role that she said yes to me because I gave her a good deal. And I respected her for what she had earned and who she is in the community. So she said yes. And that's who she is. That's who Sidney is. The one thing people don't talk about is a book that I did read by this guy named Donald Trump, President Trump now. He wrote a book called The Art of the Deal. And everybody has their number. You can close a deal in a numerous ways. It's not always about the money up front. It may be about the money on the back end, or the money in perpetuity, or just the value of whatever the deal is. If it's a good deal and everybody feels good about it, then everybody goes and play. But you can't expect people like Monique, you change the rules and say that anyone and everyone who wins an Oscar is guaranteed an offer of $8 million a picture moving forward, and then you don't do that. That's why you don't see Hilary Swank, who's won 2 Oscars. You don't see, people don't know the old actress Shelley Winters, who had 3 Oscars and died, broke in obscurity. That was working all the time. 3 Oscars. So this Halle Berry ended up on television doing a great job, still working in John Wick 3. She has an Oscar. Denzel has 2 Oscars, but look at the kind of roles that he was given Oscars for. And the reason why I bring that up is because the deal and how we get these Oscars and how we're treated and what we say yes to, like what Steve Harvey was hearkening to, is that, we're black out here. We can't do what we want to do. Well, it's not a question that we can't do what we want to do. It's that there are systems where you're not given the opportunity, and then when you're given the opportunity to do it right, they don't give you this thing what we call distribution. So
now,
we can do whatever
Mr.
we
Washington,
want to do.
If you don't mind, so I can just make sure everybody's on the same page, I'd like to play the clip that you're referencing and then allow you and the judge to talk about it, and then you can, definitely pick up where you just left off. Is that okay?
Absolutely.
All right, so here we go. Here's the clip that he just mentioned. This is on the Steve Harvey Show. Monique and Steve talk.
Steve, my family is suffering behind this. And y'all know I did nothing wrong. Y'all know my husband did nothing wrong. But none of y'all in real time, was strong enough to go publicly and say we can't throw our sister under the bus.
Because, Mo, listen to me. We fighting two wars here.
What war?
There's two wars. It's what your issue is, and it's what the perception of the issue is, and the narrative has changed.
See, I'm hearing what you're saying, baby, and I agree with it when the narrative changes. But if all of y'all said, this is the only issue I have with it, baby, when all of y'all said privately, to include Oprah, all of y'all said privately, I've done nothing wrong.
When you tell the truth, you have to deal with the repercussions of the truth. We black out here. We can't come out here and do this any kind of way we want to. Listen to me. Your husband can't be the Sidney that he really is out here.
Let me tell you something.
That flexing, we got to flex a different way. We out here in a game. This the money game. This ain't the black man's game. This ain't the white man's game. This the money game.
But
we in the money game. And you cannot sacrifice yourself. The best thing you can do for poor people is not be one of them. You cannot help them.
We're in the money game. But let me tell you what the game is before the money game.
Like
before the money game, it's called the integrity game. And we've lost the integrity worrying about the money.
But Mo,
wait a minute.
If I crumble, my children crumble, my grandchildren crumble. I cannot, for the sake of my integrity, stand up here and let everybody that's counting on me crumble so I can make a statement. There are ways to win the war in a different way.
All right, guys, you're tuned in to the Judge Joe Brown Show. I'm Valerie Denise Jones.
God.
That was a clip from the Steve Harvey Show.
Get him, Judge.
That was
nauseating. You go first, Judge.
That was nauseating. Let me just say a quick quip on what that's about. There is a lot of money to be made in the crack trade, but you don't participate in selling crack because you are poisoning your community. A lot of people are going to suffer. Damn Harvey's little immediate family. What is it, 10, 11, 12 people? There are 10, 12 million black people who suffer from that crap because they get a mind crack that Oprah, Tyler Perry, and Harvey put out there to get them subdued and thinking in a dysfunctional way. That applause, which you and I know, Brother Washington, is false because it's mechanical. When they talk about, brother, it's about money, blah, 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 black man, that is nonsense because you can. You don't have to participate in it. You don't have to legitimate the crack trade in minds with your participation. That was disgusting.
Jay-Z did.
Damn, Jay-Z.
They make money, but then he was selling crack to his own people.
And Oprah didn't make that money for herself. Roger King did it for her, and then he died. And then that's when all that stuff got real sticky for her.
Well, see, here's the thing that people don't know. On the very day that my friend Monique, Sydney was not in L.A., she was flying in real quick to take some other meetings from some other opportunities. And, hey, they got to talking. Steve Harvey invited us and said, well, hey, come do the show. Now, what they were supposed to talk about was this historical, lucrative deal. And I have to let you know, the full transparency, Monique and I share the same attorney, Ricky Anderson. He's an entertainment lawyer who was in the Hall of Fame of all the entertainment lawyers across the country. Been doing it for 30 years, an amazing lawyer, and I consider him a friend. What they were supposed to talk about, and NBC cut it out. At least all the interviews that I saw, I didn't get to see them talking about this historical deal where Monique is the first African-American woman to close a major deal as a comedian in full residency at a hotel, SLS Hotel in Las Vegas. NBC had no interest in 8 million people knowing that this woman has changed the narrative about this foolishness that got him off the rails. And what the other piece is they don't know that they cut out is that he went off on the quote, in the quote, white boys that had canceled his show that I think a day before, hour before, or that day, where he went on a rant more visceral than what he went off on Monique. As right after that, he went on about how NBC canceled his show after 7 years and disrespected him and replaced him by the Kelly Clarkson show. He attacked all the people, besmirched them for not treating him like the so-called great black man that he is. So in between that edit and how he shut her down, NBC went out their way to talk about how he felt being canceled after 7 years on NBC. You never got that in that interview, and it's disgusting that NBC didn't give the full balance of where his rage and his discontent was coming from, because in my opinion, after watching the disgusting interview, I saw a black man being angry about being canceled after 7 years and treated the same way that he treated Monique. Not being respected, not being people working with betrayed and not being fully transparent. And he got the unmitigated gall to be okay with that final freaking edit. I guess so, because once you're fired or let go, you have no say at NBC on what's going to be the final edit. So that is something that people really need to take a look at. Steve Harvey's talk show canceled. Now, that doesn't mean he's canceling all the other markets, Fox and where else he show up with Feud and all the other multi-million-dollar shows he's making. But even then, the crumbling that he was talking about, if you look at context, the crumbling had nothing to do with his family. The crumbling had to do with the fact that he just got canceled by one of the major networks in the country and was replaced by a Caucasian woman named Kelly Clarkson. And NBC didn't let him talk about that. They chose to make it look like he was shutting her down, talking about a narrative that is old as Methuselah at this point, and we never heard about how this black woman has made history doing something that even Ellen DeGeneres or Kelly Clarkson would never do. No one got to hear that story because that is what they want to keep us distracted with, having Negroes pitted against each other like it's crabs in a barrel, having this fool sitting here talking about, man, his family is already crumbled. Your family's already crumbled. If you're sitting here talking about you have no integrity and reminding us to say that you would take $4 million to be a monkey to pick bugs off yourself and take $10 million to swing on a vine and think that was funny, that's not funny. And yeah, a comedian has license almost to kill. They have license to say whatever they want to say on that stage. Everybody knows that. And for him to take her to task and actually bring up the word, the nasty word about her having a male part on national television, to bring that into the new news, bring old news into the new news, I thought was absolutely despicable on his part. When he knows comedians have a license and a right to say damn near whatever they're saying because they're comedians. And then he brought it into real time as if she would say that in her private life. And she had to correct him on that. I commend this woman with her restraint, unbelievable human being, unbelievable restraint. But what he did, what I saw was him, dump on this woman, dump on this African-American woman because he just got dumped.
See, let me add something to that.
That's what black men do to black women, and it was disgusting.
Let me add something to it. I've been saying for years, and Harvey has heard me say it, because where he used to do that radio show was a few floors down from where I had my office in the same building. And I have said for 20 years, this whole industry is anti-black man. And they're going to get you if you start getting so big. They'll use you to bring in money and let you get almost there, and then they'll cut you off. Meanwhile, if you're somebody like Ellen DeGeneres, you can have every show you have flopped and canceled, and they'll keep giving you one. I had to go on her show twice some years ago because KNBC4 said, please help us out. Her ratings are too low. We're going to have to cancel the show. I was running 5.2 and 6.1 and 4.9, and she was running 0.27 and 0.36, not even one rating point. And I went on, and it jumped up over 2 the first day and over 4 the second day, but they went right back down to below 1 Yeah, below 1, and they canceled the show. But 2 weeks after they canceled that one, they gave her another one. She has the same kind of show, but they keep canceling them because of low ratings. But because it's more than money, they give her another one because she is the poster child for a lesbian with a lesbian wife or husband or whatever it is. And they won't let her look bad. They advertise her as a star. But let's look, I mentioned this earlier, Valerie. The last 3 years I had my show, I beat Phil every week, Oprah every week, and was stepping on Judy's heels. And every time I caught up with her, so I would not be the number one TV show syndicated. They changed her rating schedule so that would artificially boost her ratings. They wouldn't do that for me. And we were all in the same unit that Roger King managed for CBS. But he died suddenly, and then everything kind of went to hell. But see, they never mentioned me as a star, but I was their number one in their stable. They sent it to the stockholders. I was the biggest money-making proposition in the CBS syndication stable, which was helping CBS to have 14 consecutive quarters of steadily increasing profitability. In the last 4, at the time all of this dispute came down, were the most profitable in CBS history, and they were talking about I was responsible. I got those stockholders' newsletters because I had a couple of shares of stock, which I bought just so I could get the newsletter. And I know what they're telling me when they're lying, and then everybody's got to take the bite because everything's down. I said, you're lying through your teeth. You just got a raise. And I told this buzzard what it was. Told the next one what his was. The next one, I said, now don't come into me when you are crediting your success with the board of directors and the stockholders with the success of my show. That's why you got the raise. Don't come in here and tell me I got to take a 50% cut, and you are blocking me from being the number one television show. You've lost your mind. So I just said, screw you. They said, take it or leave it. I said, leave it. And they fired the CEO at that time. They brought another one in. I said, leave it. They fired him. Finally, they brought somebody in they know I talked to. And I said, man, I can't deal with that. That's insulting. And, there's more to it than money. I could use it, but screw the money. I'm supposed to be the second highest paid person in television syndication at the time. I said, well, I know what the studio sent out there for Wikipedia. I said, but that doesn't cut it. I'm out of here. Bye.
Because you were standing on a simple thing, 2 things called dignity and integrity, sir.
That's right. And you do too. And Harvey doesn't. He was angry, but the inevitable that I'd even said something to him about, they're going to jam you up when you get too big because you are a straight black man. At least they perceive you that way. So you got to be careful. They will never let you get up. And the other thing, Monique did something that we don't have black men doing because they won't let the black men, and the black men don't understand that there is unity and strength, but they don't need us because they can get gay men like Jussie Smollett, and they'll play straight men or gay ones, and they have some of the in crowd doing what straight men really do, but what these actors are faking and portraying as a fiction, we do.
Well, it's something that I said years ago to my former gay publicist, Howard Bragman, and he agreed, is that for a long time, I believe everybody should fight for their rights and their dignity. No one should be treated with disrespect or treated poorly for any reason in this experiment called America. We all know that. And, hey, the Constitution probably wasn't written with all me in mind, but it's mine now. I don't claim the national anthem because of the racist lyrics that was taken out, but I do claim the American flag because I'm a veteran and I raised my hand for 4 years to lay my life down for that. It's not just a cloth or a piece of symbolism. It's something that I know that we have all died for as descendants of slaves. We've all died for that. I think the bigger issue that we have with people that are fighting for power, and we know absolute power corrupts absolutely, is that you have a particular DNA that has a particular orientation, and now they're going to weaponize that orientation. When you push people long enough, whatever they believe or whatever, and you treat them poorly long enough, I think Jussie Smollett and some other people that I've had encounters with, this is what it looks like when you weaponize a particular sexual orientation. All of a sudden, it's toxic masculinity if you are a heterosexual male, and you're even more toxic if you are a heterosexual white male. So that goes back to what Mr. Smollett, I've been calling his sister Journey Smollett for 20 years, but now you notice it has gotten very French. It's gone to Smollett. You see what's happening here? The bourgeoisie and this principles of people standing on the pronunciation of their name, the sexual orientation, and what this young man did strategically and arrogantly is use 3 sore spots in this country. 3 sore spots. What it means to have respect and dignity as a black male, what it means to have respect and dignity as a black gay male, and then what it means to have dignity and respect to fight against racism that will pour bleach and put a noose around that black gay man's neck. That right there, that's not, they're going to frame it until he's crazy and drug addiction on Molly. No, that was a very strategic move for a man that was trying to frame himself to be one of the most powerful human beings in the world. And thank God it failed, because now we get to talk about that. He ain't the first one to do it. We've got many white supremacists that have used this tactic. We got many people that have lied. Hitler has lied, okay, to get into power. Hitler wasn't even blonde and blue-eyed, and it worked for him. So when we look at the clout chasing for our new young listeners, this is the example of what clout chasing can do when it goes wrong, when it's based in selfishness and it's not based in selflessness. Okay, when it's based in selfishness and not based in selflessness, then you have a man looking, like he talked about the perception of the narrative. Well, Mr. Harvey, my perception of you now has changed grossly, because it looked like you just shut down a woman and didn't give her or NBC an opportunity to talk about how she has made history and is doing very well with a lucrative deal right there in Las Vegas. That's criminal unto itself, because what we don't know hurts just as bad or what we think we know.
Right.
There
I wanted
you go.
to also to play just one more. People know I'm known for my clips. And then, if you don't mind, Mr. Washington and Judge Brown, I want to open up the lines so that we can allow other people to, join the conversation. But I think based on what you just said, sure.
One thing, I'm going to have to duck out for about 15 minutes, all right? I'll be listening,
okay,
but I'll be right back.
All right. All right. So just text me, or just do the number 1 thing or something.
Oh,
just text me.
Got you.
Yeah, me or Maurice. I think he's on standby as well. So I wanted to ask you, because I think a lot of people, the message was misconstrued because of this, Mr. Washington. So listen to this. It's about 3 minutes long, so hope you got your non-alcoholic libations and your pen and paper so that you can help break this part down for us, okay?
All right, I'm back here with my sister Monique, and we're getting real. Come on, so listen to me. Here is what I want you to understand about this whole thing.
Yes.
As we try to come through this, because what I want really is for you to come through, because I know who you really are. And so what I want you to do is come through this with a different way. Because you, Monique, you my girl. I love you like a sister. I hate what's happening to you. I hate what they're saying that's not true. I want them to know that you are caring, that you're a great mother, that you are incredible talent. I don't like the fact that you've been blackballed. You can be unblackballed. You too talented to have to worry about all this where the next one coming from. I want this to end for you. Well, I want it to end for you, Monique, because I love you. Because these people are doing it the wrong way, and you better than that. You are better than that. I probably should have called you as soon as, but I didn't. I got a lot of stuff going on, so I didn't. When I did call you, I listened to you. But I began telling you at the very beginning, I think we're going about this the wrong way. Now, we keep saying stuff in the interim that keeps just making it worse. Hollywood know you talented. But it's making it worse for who? It's making it worse. For who? Okay, if you think it's cool, then it's cool. That's what I'm saying. But it's not cool, Mo. For who? It's not cool. For who? The fact that we're sitting here arguing like this. We're not arguing. Okay, we're discussing. You and your sister, we having a conversation that Mommy and Daddy ain't here right now, and I'm getting ready to punch you in your mouth. That's the conversation. Bam, bam. Right. I think what happens, though, is I've had to understand how to agree to disagree without being upset. And that's the thing. I disagree with my brother. I'm not upset with you. I love you. I disagree with the way Oprah, Lee, and Tyler did it. Cool. But I love them. I'll give you that. Now, guess what we need to do to move forward and fix this? Come on. These people owe you an apology. You owe those people an apology. Then we can move forward. Mo, listen to me. You are valuable to us all. You are valuable to Tyler Perry. You are valuable to Oprah, to Lee Daniels. We can't do this without talent. See, me and you, we talent. They can't do this without us. You take us out of Hollywood, they have to close some doors around here. It is not the same without us. Yeah. You are too valuable. I don't want to lose your gift to the world. You won't. Because we're trying to prove a point when we can prove the point by doing it in a more loving way. That's all I want, man. I absolutely agree with you. 100%. The only way I know how to do it is loving, because that's all that's in my heart. Okay. Now, when I say it, you may not like how I say it. But see, if it's in your heart, love sound like love. Yes. Yeah. See, that's what. So if it don't sound like it when you say it, that's because it ain't. So this is what we're going to close out like this. I'm going to try and arrange. I'm going to do my best to get the conversations that need to be had between you and these people so you can hear from them. I'm going to then ask them would they say it publicly for the benefit of everybody so you can get the release that you need. Then I'm going to ask you to tell these people and apologize for some bashing you done. I know you don't think you did none, but you did. And when everybody can come to that, then I think there's a chance for us to move. I love you, Mo. I'm glad you came to see me. Looking back on it, I should have picked up the phone and called you more readily. I appreciate it.
All right, so Mr. Washington, just maybe 2 or 3 more minutes on this, and then I need to open up the line so other people can ask you questions. But I think a lot of us somehow or another thought that he was loving on her because he made promises about or suggestions as to what they could do to move forward, and he said he was going to get them to apologize to her. And I think that the worst part and the most insulting part, now that I hear your version and I know, what happened behind the scenes and what was really going on, the